So, Mike, I'm so glad we got this guy, bro, because, I mean, you and I talked about this before. Probably the greatest interception. No. Most significant.
Blackburn might have something to say about that, buddy.
You know what? Good point. But look, this led us into that first one. Okay. And without Favre's last pass in Green Bay, as a Packer, without Corey Webster, and I'm dying to know what went through his head, when he got it. And then, of course, Tynes went through. So let's ask this guy how he did it and how it felt and get his ass out here, Corey Webster. All right, whatever.
Oh.
Good day, sir.
See you later.
Hey.
Hey, if you don't greet Corey Webster with great day, then you don't follow him.
Hey, straight up. I appreciate it, Joe.
You don't follow him.
Welcome to True Blue, Corey Webster.
Man, thank you for having me. How you guys doing?
Oh, come on, man. It's another beautiful day in Giants land when you're heading towards first place in the NFC East.
Still in the hunt, baby, right where we need to be.
I want to start this off with something that I just noticed, which is great. That I just noticed about Corey Webster. Corey Webster's Twitter bio. Do you know what it says, Joe? Take a guess.
I know, so you go ahead. 4
words. New York Football Giants. That's the whole bio. I absolutely love that. That's amazing. One of the very rare 2-time Super Bowl winners and once a Giant, only a Giant type of guy. So really welcome, dude. We're honored to have you on.
Appreciate you guys having me, man. I know it's going to be a lot of great stuff, and I know we're going to talk about Big Blue, so wouldn't be in place.
You know what, Corey? Let's jump into it right away. Like, as a former player, someone that has won a couple of chips here, what goes through your head when you see what's going on here? Like, what is it like? Can you point fingers? Is it owners, management, coaching, players, everything? What is it, man?
You can never point fingers, because when you point fingers, there's always 3 pointing back at you. So never want to point fingers. Is probably a combination. I think everybody would take some type of responsibility and accountability for those actions. Me being a former player and having started from the bottom and built it all the way to what it was, being able to win 2 championships, it's tough to see it here right now, because being optimistic, you always think that it's going to just continue to get better and better and better, but that's not always realistic. So we're going through a little, bumps and bruises and, a little growing pain right now. Hopefully they could get that turned around. I don't know if it's going to happen now. We are very impatient. We live in a time that we want results now, but we know it. We want it to happen. I know you guys want it to happen.
I mean, it's funny you say that, bumps and bruises and growing pains. Corey, how long you been out of the league?
I was 7 years now, 8 years. I don't even know.
Growing pains since you left, damn it. Enough with it.
Hey, so that must mean something big and bright is in the near future for G-Men fans, right?
Yeah. Hey, Mike, he's starting to think like literally LPG. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, the positivity and optimism. The positivity and optimism keeps us going in a time like this. There's no other guy for me to be like connected with than Joe, because he just keeps it so great. One of the most positive spots in the team so far has been the defense. From a player who had success on the defense, played for Spagnuolo, played for Coughlin, like really, great general type of coaches. What's your first impression of the new players on defense? It's a very young defense, and the coaching staff and how they're setting them up.
Well, that's just it. You got young players. So you normally say, it's going to take some time to get going, but you're seeing success early on. So hopefully they can continue to build with that success. And then I think the key would be to, I think they're putting them in great position, coaches and players as well, communicating on the field. But I think the key would be for them to handle the success in a great way so they can continue to build. Sometimes it's hard for young players to handle success and be able to grow with handling the success that they're having early on. I know they're not having success as far as the wins and loss columns right now, but I think that will be it. Those guys be able to handle the success and continue to build off of what they're doing right now, because I think they're laying a great foundation.
I like that.
I like that too. What was it like for you coming, like say, your rookie year, your second year? When did you win? Your third year? Was that what we went?
Yes.
Your third season. So then, you didn't come in and you weren't starting right away. You had to do your thing. You had your learning curve. What does that learning curve look like, especially from a DB standpoint? Because we have a lot of young DBs.
DB and, more specifically, cornerback is a tough position to play, right? Because you're on the island literally and everybody can see your mistakes. Whereas, defensive line, linebackers, you have other guys that's behind you that's keeping you inside of the umbrella. So you don't see their mistakes as obvious as you can see the DB's mistakes. So, coming into that, that's a mindset that you have to have. And, it starts with having a short-term memory. You're going to, especially being young, you're going to give up some plays. So you need to have a short-term memory so that one play don't turn into two plays, don't turn into a bad quarter, don't turn into a bad game. So I would tell those guys, have a short-term memory. And I learned that in college, have a short-term memory so you can get to the next play, learn from that play right there, and hopefully it doesn't, affect the rest of the game, and you can, maybe slow down the chances of giving up big plays or that particular play going forward. So the learning curve, I would say definitely to tell them going with, short-term memory. But for me, is knowing who you are too. I think a lot of guys, and this, puts us almost back to that first question of why are we here right now as far as the Giants. I don't think a lot of guys know who they are. And that's not to take a knock on just the Giants. I'm just talking about overall with social media, internet, and everything that's going on. I think people are still trying to figure out who they are. So I think it takes that. Like, I knew who I was coming in. So even in that third season that you talk about, I started the beginning of that season, but then I was out of the starting lineup, I think, in the second or third game of that season. And then I started again when the playoff run started, right? So, but I never veered away from who I was. I know who I was from the beginning. I think a lot of guys go up and down with what type of success they're having, and sometimes that, can be a toll on a younger player.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer going back to 2 minutes ago when you were saying short-term memory, because I really don't believe that the players today have that mentality. I think they literally take it with them, and then unfortunately they get destroyed on social media, which brings back their short-term memory to the present.
Yeah.
And I think that quarterback is literally, besides quarterback, I think it's the hardest position to play in sports. I really do. And not just because your butt's on here. I literally believe it's the hardest play. You don't know the routes. You got to be quick on your feet. You got multiple wide receivers that are coming into your zone. It's extremely difficult. So yeah, I think I'm so happy you brought up the social media aspect because I love it.
Yes.
It's given me my platform. I've been doing this, for 20 years, at least a home and away. And not until social media came along did it build me up. However, it also has its ruts and it's negative, and it really does affect athletes. So, that was a really good point.
Yeah, what I say is for athletes, they need to know to take the goods with the bad. Look, just be honest. You're not as great as they say you are. You're not as bad as they say you are. As an athlete, you want to find yourself somewhere in the middle, just working to be a better version of yourself every day. So for myself, is not to read the newspaper articles. Not that it's a knock on the journalist or the newspaper that's putting it out. For myself, is not to watch the ESPN. It's not to watch the sports centers. Not that that's a knock on any of those guys that's in that profession, right? So I think the players have to take that with a grain of salt. Like, they don't have to buy into it, and don't let it be a distraction to them, or the locker room for that matter. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's happening right now. That becomes a distraction. What it is, a meme, a meme. You know what I mean? A meme right now turned that short-term memory into a lifetime right now. So
correct.
If you're paying attention to that meme or you're paying attention to the internet, it's hard for you not to see that. So you have to understand how to unplug and, when to use social media and how to use it for an asset and not let it to be a liability to you. You know, LeBron used to turn off when the season started.
Correct. Done.
You know what I mean?
That's correct.
Now, until he understood how to go about handling it, and I think he does a great job with his platform.
So do I.
So I think some guys have to understand it from that way. Until you have a grips on, you know, how to handle your platform, how to talk to your fans and your audience, don't let it become a distraction to you.
Would you have turned off, Corey? Because I'll give you a positive right now. You know, I do follow you, and I do like listening to you, and I do listen to your positive notes and your feedbacks and everything that you offer now. I don't think you would have done that playing days. It would have been a distraction. I think you would have tweeted a little bit. I don't think you would have been live or making videos left and right until maybe the end of the season. But how do you feel about where you have grown after football? Because I really do enjoy your videos, and I want you to keep going.
I appreciate it. Look, I will. I'm going to, eventually top of the year, I'm going to be starting my own podcast. So you're going to have other people that you know here that I'm going to be interviewing. But for me, I think I was in a blessed situation to understand what it was to be without the internet, what it was to be without social media, as well as what it is to be with it. And I was around some great people like the Nick Sabans, the LSU staff that taught us how to use social media. I think nowadays a lot of kids are just being born into it, and they have no idea how to really use it to gain, you know, what they want out of it. Sometimes they just use it just because they was born into it, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Me, I think I would have been on a bit of a LeBron path, meaning use it how I needed to use it because I had people around me to show me how I needed to use it. You know what I mean? So it could be an asset. I would have never let it be a distraction to me because, again, I was blessed to be in that situation around the Nick Sabans of the world. When we had Facebook when it first came out, you know, LSU was a part of that process when, you know, the Ivy League school got it for a while. And I hate to go into this, but you could only get a Facebook account if you had an EDU.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be on a college campus. And then they opened it up to, I mean, you can see the movie for all that, but I'm saying I remember being a part of that. And, you know, so I understand how to use the social media. So I would have never let it be a distraction. I didn't let the papers be a distraction to me or the, you know, the ESPNs be a distraction to me. So I would have treated it the same way.
Mike, he's not. He's at least allowed back at LSU for the next 2 years.
Only ESPN distraction if we're talking NFC Championship game. If we're talking coldest game of the year, then maybe I'll watch ESPN and maybe I'll check it out. When you do go on, and no one gets this more than Joe with the social media kind of like battling with fans and just opinions, and not in players, some players, but like these fans who are just, you know, everyone's a problem. Everyone can come up with their own issues, but there are, switching back to the Giants, there are some real issues. Yes. You're obviously very in tune with it. What do you see as the positives or the projection of the rest of the season as positives, and what do we have to work on from a team? Because we run the gamut here. Like we just get everything every day that we need to fix. But what do you see?
Well, I think for one, you have a lot of good key players. You know what I mean? I know sorry for Saquon, he can't be here for the year, but we have a lot of other key players that can, you know, really play and very young, like we talked about earlier. So I think we have to keep that locker room together. We don't need the outside distractions spilling over into the locker room. All right. And I think if they could do that, they can continue to put, you know, 1-game seasons every week together, and you never know, the sky's the limit. But they have to come together within their locker room. We have to see who's going to develop as far as leaders, because not a knock on the Giants, but just because they put a C on your jersey, that has no meaning to that you're a leader of that team. Right? Yeah. So we have to find out who those leaders are. You know what I mean? Who those guys are going to step up and who those guys are willing to follow. And I think they still need a bit of identity. I don't think they have identity just yet. I'm not just talking about run-pass identity, talking about culture, right? You know, people talk about a lot about culture right now, but they really need an identity and a culture identity to see where they're going moving forward. And I think if they can figure that out through these growing pains, they'll be okay.
So, you know, good point about growing, being a young team. What is your immediate thought on the coach, Joe Judge?
Well, I mean, he's been around a lot of great coaches, right? Meaning, you know, the Nick Sabans of the world, some people that I've been around, right? Coach Belichick. So I think he has those ingredients inside of him, but it's still going to be how those guys respect him and how they react to him in the locker room. Can he actually lead his team, right? Meaning he has been a part of people that have been great, and they were the leaders. He was kind of doing his job, and I'm sure he did it to the best of his ability. But now he's in that role. So how those guys are going to respond to him and respect him in that manner, I think that's going to be a lot. So far, we're in a uphill battle. So we need to still see that. And I think only time going to tell. I think we'll see it sooner than later, though.
Yeah, I agree with the time will tell. However, I agree it's a cordial type of dating right now. The fan base and Joe Judge, the team and Joe Judge. I will say that I am, for a 1-5 team, I think you haven't heard a peep out of that locker room negative-wise. Mm-hmm. And then look what's going on in Dallas right now. Everybody throwing everybody under the bus. Look at what's going on in New York with another team. That's all over. Everybody wants out. Everybody wants to be traded. And you know what? I believe that goes back to the head coach. If you have that respect in the locker room, you are going to get that silence, even though they're 1-5. So yes, it's a courting period. It's a dating period right now. We're still trying to feel everybody out, but I believe the Giants got a good one. Yes. I believe that if the general manager is fired, which I believe he will be, I really think that the next general manager should contemplate keeping Joe Judge.
Yeah, well, that'll be a big thing, right? You know what I mean? Because sometimes those relationships go right. Together, right? So that'll be a big decision that, we have to cross. But, what happens? Winning kind of covers all that. You know what I mean? When you start winning, they cover up all those problems. But
that's true.
Yeah, we have a problem, in those situations as far as bringing in certain draft picks. And, Giants have been a team that brought in draft picks, and they stuck by those draft picks. Before I got there, I saw guys there that was whatever the talent level may be, but the Giants stuck by those guys. And while I was there, and right now you're seeing that turnover happening a little faster than usual, right?
Yeah. Right.
Good point.
Right.
Good point.
Right. And that's, the coaching turnover happened as well. And our fan base is just a little kind of tired of it. A couple coaches in a couple years, and I personally think, I know Joe personally think that Judge is the guy. Personally think that Daniel Jones really could be the guy at this point. Who was your mentors as far as teammates when you got to the team? I love that you were on this is the best part about this talking to you, is that you were on the Giants. You never were on another team. That's we finally got someone from the defense, and someone was only a Giant. So who was your mentors when you came into the team?
I'll say this. Sam Madison, R.W. McQuarters have to be the biggest mentor, and not just because, I met them at the Giants. I know they was with, other teams before, but those guys really taught us how to be young men and how to be professionals, right? On the Giants team, Strahan, obviously, we, was able to learn a lot from him. Tiki Barber as well, not just on the field stuff, but off the field as well. But I have to say my biggest two would have to be Sam Madison and R.W. McQuarters.
Great.
Yeah, Madison's an amazing person.
And two great dudes, too. Like, nice dudes that probably I could see teaching while having fun. It's funny that he picked two great guys, so that's funny.
Did you see? Obviously, you saw the video I put out the other day of you and I singing a little Fresh Prince clip at Joe's softball tournament.
That was funny.
Were you ever part of those? What I just heard, this rap battle situation that was going on in the locker room?
Nah, you know what I mean? Nah, not me at all. You know what I mean? That ain't my. You know what I mean? I'm about respect, right? So, you know what I mean? You're not going to cross the line with me and just, we're going to laugh and joke about it. That's not my – but I can say I saw those things happen. I know others like to joke and play around like that. But I heard that. I saw that clip up the other day. But, you wasn't going to do that with me.
You were yourself. That was good. I like that.
Nah, Corey was not going to be talked about, and he definitely was not going to be thrown in no ice bucket.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, we don't bring
it up. Hey, let's fast forward to probably one of the top three. I'm going with number one, and Chase is going to have a little word with me, like Mike said later, and Seahorn might have a word with me as well. But probably the most crucial interception in Giants history at that time. It's funny how long we've been friends, and I never had the chance to ask you, or I guess I never just came out and asked you, what goes through your head when you get the ball? What goes through your head when you actually have it in your hands and you go down? Like, What was that? Tell me what that was.
Your thought out head.
Yeah. What was that? You know why? Because I couldn't tweet it at you. So tell me now.
Well, just for instance, felt like that play lasted forever, right? Felt like the ball was in the air forever. But also I have to go back early. I got beat early in the game. Had a good jam on down the driver, decided to peek in the backfield, thought it was a run play, kind of threw him, and that kind of sprung him open, caught a pass down the field. So the whole game, I'm looking for a calculated risk, how I get that back, right? Not to do nothing crazy because I already did something, to give up a big play. So I'm looking for that back, right? And now it's the start of overtime. What better time? He has to come to his main man. Him and Down the Driver had this relationship, right? Mm-hmm. This is overtime of the NFC Championship game. Like, he has to come to this guy's third down, right?
Yeah.
So just trying to read the route, being very focused, remembering the film study that came to this point, knew the routes and the combination that they're like, and was able to get underneath the route. Like I said, the ball was forever in the air. My eyes was big. It was catch it. And then when I caught it, remember, R-Dub had, I think, fumbled a couple of balls because it's been so cold out there. Yeah. And he couldn't feel the ball. You know what I mean? He couldn't feel it at all. So the get down part was hoping we was in good enough position that, the offense can, get a couple of yards and get the field goal, but just to hold on to the ball, tuck it. I didn't want him to strip the ball away from me or nothing like that. Once he touched me, it was just cradle the ball, go down, and, give our team an opportunity.
How cold were you?
Very. I'm from Louisiana. I played college ball in Louisiana, you know what I mean? So now we're playing with the third or second coldest game ever in the NFL, windshield negative, whatever. We have hoodie season year round in Louisiana, right? We don't need a big jacket. So we was very cold. So it's time to get out of there.
I looked at the play again just today, just like kind of just going over it, and it stuck right in there. There was no bobble. There was nothing. It stuck right in there.
Corey held that ball with 3 hands, bro.
Yes.
Seriously. He did. It stuck right in there.
It's funny, Mike, it's funny when he's sitting there talking about it, like, you can't tell me you didn't play at, like, my second by second of that play in your head. He could talk about that for the rest of his life, and we're going to sit here and see the whole play in our head. It's incredible.
So we had Weatherford last week, and we talked about the parade. The parade. You have 2 parades. So what's your memories of both victory parades, if you have any, that you could tell us? Dig deep. Go peel back behind the curtain. Give me something. Well, it's a safe space here, Corey.
Yeah, I got you. For one, that's the, where the true heroes march, right? So, for us to be able to share that same ground for a parade to celebrate us was the ultimate compliment. And I think I did it with my son. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember, but I want to say my son was there the whole time with me. And I think he got the key to the city and everything like that. You know what I mean? So to share that stage with him, and for him to be around the team and everybody embrace him around that championship walk was awesome. And I think the DBs did something special. We got off the float and we got in the crowds, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mixing the two, but but we got in. We was involved with the people. We went and touched the people, and really embraced us along that journey.
In 46, so I did this last week with Weatherford, but I actually got to get on a float, and I rode in a float in 46, and it was like the last one, and we weren't supposed to go on it. It was supposed to be the DBs, and we were waiting for all the DBs to get on the float, and they're like, you know what? All the DBs already got on floats. They didn't listen to the people that were supposed to put them on what float. They're like, they just did whatever they wanted. They got all the floats by themselves in the front, and now this one was open. They're like, you guys can go on this one. Yeah. So technically, I rode on the DB float, but you guys.
Hey, Mike, I don't even know how people don't know how tight these guys were.
Right.
Like, even if a guy missed a week, they would come out in their hats. Corey, somewhere in the man cave, I have 4 of them if you want one. But every hat that they got, it had numbers of the guys that were missing. Yes. They put them on their cleat. They put them on their tape, and they definitely put them on their hats. Corey gave me one every game. It was either Terrell Thomas or Dion or whoever it was. These guys were the tightest group I've ever seen, and I've been doing this a long time. And I miss every single one of you dudes about that.
Yeah, likewise. Now, that's a great thing that you say, because a lot of people don't know that, and it takes that. You know what I mean? I felt that DB group, they knew what it was to win. I'm just going to be honest, right? Because a lot of those guys in that group had won national championship that they respected college, right? So no disrespect to nothing that was going on. We didn't need anyone to teach us how to win, right? We already knew how to win. You know what I mean? A lot of us, I won in high school. You know what I mean? So a lot of us was already winners. So we was looking, how can we bring that with our group and bring that to like the linebackers, the defensive line, offense, right? How we make the receivers better. And that's what I think creates championship type of teams, you know what I mean? And that's what our job was. I think Lawrence asked me that the other day as well. Like, man, that DB group, it brought everybody together. Remember, we used to have the sweet rags. We gave everybody our sweet rags. We gave them nicknames, right? So people felt that there was a part of that. And along with that, it wasn't just about the look. It was about a mindset, right? Because along with that sweet rag, you was a part of a group that had to do extra stuff. What I meant by extra was, run off the field, the little things, right? Don't drop interception, don't drop ball. EXTRA was the motto, extra. A little extra ain't gonna hurt, right? So you need those things to be able to affect the locker room in a positive way, you know what I mean? And that's what I talk about when we talk about culture. If you don't have those guys right there, it's going to be hard, you know what I mean? Just to go out there and play. You got to have somebody making it fun, making it interesting, making you want to come to practice and laugh and joke and get better.
That's awesome. I remember every single minute of that. DBs were my favorite those years, and a lot of credit is to you and those guys.
Wow.
Awesome. I say this, kind of like the motto that the true heroes have. When I say the true heroes, I'm talking about the people that protect and serve our country, right? Mm-hmm. If you remember, Lieutenant Colonel Greg Gatson, right? He would always come to our and give a lot of motivational talk. He was a giant in himself. He was a part of the team, especially on that Super Bowl run when we talked about Green Bay Packers interception. He actually has the ball that I intercepted from Green Bay, because he was with us the whole time and I developed a relationship with him. So that interception ball, I gave it to him. But it was almost like them, like no man left behind. You know what I mean? Like if we had a guy that was injured or couldn't be there for whatever reason, somebody else was going to step up, and it wasn't going to be in a negative way, right? We were going to step up just to take care of, our brother being down. And I think that helped a lot throughout the season to build that group that we built. And it was infectious to the other groups, the receivers, the running backs, the linemen, and that kind of spread like wildfire in a positive way.
This is what we need, Joe. This is what we need. This is what
I got to. We don't really have that. You're right. And I you know what? I love that story. Mike told me that the ball behind him was the Corey Webster interception, so he lied to me. So I'm glad that I know that Colonel Gatson has it. I think that is tremendous.
That is tremendous.
My respect for you, Corey, was already here, and it's grown tremendously more just by hearing that. You should know. I told Brandon the same thing, and I truly believe it. Guys like you that I continue to follow after the playing days, you offer so much more now. I watch you as a father figure and a husband, and just everything that you're doing and giving back to the community and keeping everybody on a positive note. Kudos to you. Keep doing that stuff, because, good things happen to good people. That's you.
I appreciate that. You need to hear that from time to time, too. But I'm going to continue to keep the fire lit, to make sure that I keep doing those things and to provide that positive space for anybody that may need to see that. So I appreciate that.
Did you ever, in all your times, did you ever go on the field and give cash to former to players when you went after the game to any LSU players? Did you ever do that?
Nah, never. That's a silly thing. I'm gonna say this. It's a how do I say it? It's a right way even to do wrong things. You know what I mean? I say that. You know what I mean? So in the good book, it always said, do something with your right hand and hide it away from your left hand, right? So even if I was going to bless somebody, not just on the field, not just a collegiate person, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it for the attention. I would do it for the right reason of helping that person or helping that individual.
Hey, look, Mike, I know that was a joke. We ran it before, but
yeah.
I gotta tell you, I think he's a tremendous athlete and a tremendous guy. I think no matter what he does, doesn't matter. He gets himself in trouble,
yes,
and he'll never outlive that. And I should only hope that one day that he wins a Super Bowl so he could have one thing that takes away all of these negative things that has happened to that unbelievable athlete.
Yeah, unbelievable athlete, and I've been knowing him. He's a great guy too, as well.
He's a great guy and a very giving guy.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, what's it? I keep messing up. Is the memes?
Gotcha.
Some kind of way, is always a storyline, and he's not necessarily the narrative of his own story, because now they're able to paint that picture however they want to,
right?
Because of one or two mistakes, you know what I mean? And
right.
The mistakes that he's making is making underneath the eye of everybody, right? A lot of other people make those same mistakes now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just that they're not underneath that microscope, right? So, when you was that age or when I was that age, I'm happy we didn't have those type of devices where everybody has a phone and the media is everywhere. You know what I mean? So I do understand it in that respect. You know what I mean? And I wish him always the very, very best. And I want him to, be responsible with his platform, but sometimes just come off a little differently.
I was going, and I still want to do this. I'm going to run down. I'm going to drop. I had 6 names. Odell was one of them. I'm going to drop 5 names. And I just want to get, 30 seconds before we'll let you go. Give me 30 seconds on these names. What first comes to mind? Any little bit. So first one. Second one, I just want to start Logan Ryan. He's now wearing your number on the team. He's probably our veteran presence, if there is one in that.
Yeah, don't say it. Just give him the name. I want to hear what he's got to say.
Sorry, Logan Ryan.
Yeah. Now, anytime I see that number on the field, doesn't even matter if it's, the Giants or not. I always wanted to do good, you know what I mean? So hopefully he can take that. And I always wanted to do, better than what I did, because he's playing the DB position. And, hopefully he can, take the number and wear it well and make it respectable throughout the league.
What have you seen from his play so far?
So far, so great. But like I said, there's a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys. So hopefully they can continue to build on that and become, a better unit. Hopefully they can take something from what we're doing right here and what we're saying, make everybody better around them so they can get better from it. So far, so great. But we want to see a few interceptions and, a few things that's happening off the field as far as leading. And I think that'll be big.
Kenny Phillips.
Superman, that's what I call him. Very loyal guy, very hard worker. Sometimes a few injuries got there, but loyal, respectable, somebody I want on my team every day, all day.
Love it.
He's a baller. Love Kenny.
You know what, Mike, I got to tell you, bro, we would be talking in such high praise for that guy, but now you bring up Kenny Phillips, you bring up injury. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks. He was a killer. Eli Manning.
Quiet, easy E, a Louisiana guy, you know what I mean? A legend, should be in the Hall of Fame soon, and just another brother of mine. You
ever get him out of practice? You ever pick him?
Yes, all the time. I mean,
Mike, we're talking about Eli Manning. He got him like 10 times.
Gotta get him. You know what I mean? This started at Ole Miss LSU days. You know what I mean? Nothing stopped. You know what I mean? 20 then.
This guy, Jamarcus Russell.
Again, first pick of the NFL, right? You know what I mean? A lot of people can't say that. You know what I mean? So I still tip my hat to J. Russ. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people haven't done that. A little brother, a little big brother, what I like to call him, but Mobile, Alabama, finest.
Yeah, that's all you can say about it. Move on.
Okay, moving on. Brett Favre.
I caught his last pass as a Packer.
That's it. I love that.
For a minute there, it was his last pass ever.
Yeah.
That would have been cooler. Then you're not giving the ball away.
No, he might have kept that.
I already gave it away. I'd be lying. I already gave it away.
Hey, you've been out of league 7 years, and Colonel Gatson has the ball.
Yes.
You ever driving in the car one day, just say, "Damn"?
Nah. He always asks me when I see him. Whenever we can catch up, he always asks, "Do you want the ball back?"
Oh, he does.
Do you want the ball back? And
what a classy dude.
I think it's in great hand.
Do you autograph it with something?
I did. His autograph.
What up? You know what? We got to end on that, Mike. What a classy guy. Corey giving it to him, class number 1. And of course, Colonel Gatz is going to ask him every time he sees him. 2 crazy, loyal dudes. I love it, man. Corey, thank you so much for your time. And we'd love to have you on again. This is a lot of fun. Continue what you're doing. Stay blessed and stay true blue.
And yes,
likewise, man.
Man. Let's just keep connecting. Whatever you got going on, just hit us up and we'll share it. Joe is a psychopath, so he'll probably know what you're doing before you're doing it.
Yes.
And we'll just keep in touch. Thank you, man.
Most definitely, man. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great one. Appreciate it. Be blessed.
See you later, Corey.
Yeah.